Hey there, welcome to My Green Pets. I'm William Green. Today's the first update in the spring 2024, spring-summer 2024 playlist. Super excited about that. There's so much growth happening. No flowers. This is the flowerless period, but let's see what's growing. Oh my goodness, look at these cynoches putting out some roots. We've got Cattleya. New roots back here. More growth here on this little guy. This little cynoches also growing. And this one's for sale still. If anybody wants it. Cynoches. Varsavicii. Super excited about that. If last year's growth was this big, how big is this year's growth gonna be? Oh my gosh. New growth on my little Bulbophyllum Lovely Elizabeth, which I adore. It bloomed last summer when I was out of town. I missed all of it. Completely missed it. My Bulbophyllum lepidum, smaller leaves and bulbs back here, put out 4 or 5 new growths in the fall. So those, I'm expecting blooms to pop out of those sometime soon. Bulbophyllum echinolabium. How? Look at this. Wow. And the spike is still extending out. That's super exciting. Here's the division that I took. Looking good still. Maybe a tiny bit of wrinkling happening here, but they're still firm. Looks pretty good. That will probably start working on a new growth soon. This little Rebecca Northern looks like it's trying to put out 2 growths here on this side. And then there's one over here as well. And then my Mormodia Jumbo World, it's been split into 3 pieces. All 3 pieces are sold. We're just waiting for shipping with it, but look at these roots. And look at this one. This one's got, oh, it's kind of jammed in there. This one's got 2 growths on it. Looking happy. Be careful with those. My Wrinklelia aristocrat just bloomed last month. Look at the roots pouring out of the growth, and there's a new growth pushing on that side. There's another growth pushing on the other side. So 2 growths on this one. Love how vigorous this thing is. Cattleya Rex, Ina, or Ina, I should just call it Ina. Una and Nina has got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 growths. Here's the furthest along. That's not going to be far from blooming. Once that leaf gets completely extended out, there should be a sheath inside, and then there should be some flowers popping out of that, maybe in May. Yeah, I think so. Here's what's left of my Bulbophyllum crocium. I sold a few little pieces of it. And I sent a piece to Mikhail Kujawa at Kujawa Orchids. He's got cool greenhouses where he grows Nepenthes highland species. This is also a highland plant from the mountaintops of Sumatra or Java. And bright and cool are supposed to be the key. The key is to growing this little guy. So I had it underneath in the bottom of the tent, so I moved it up, and I'm hoping that a little bit brighter up here. But if it's too hot, I think it gets unhappy and drops its leaves. Let's see here. Oh, my Cattleya hardiana. It's not looking so great. The leaves are wrinkling. Maybe I'm not watering it enough, but it does have a fat new growth pushing. And my Dowiana Excelente already has another growth. It just completed this one. And then this little guy's completing a growth here. That's another Aurea. And then Cattleya Rex Mayu is popping some new growth out the bottom there. The leaves that it put out over the winter, one of them dropped off completely. You can see what's left of the bulb here. And then this one's turned about halfway black and stopped. So I imagine it might continue on and drop off. And I wonder if it's not temperature related, because this thing was right up next to the window and it got pretty chilly in here. It got down to like 15°C a couple times. So that could have been it. I've noticed a lot of my Rex seedlings are doing this. Black along the margin there. Maybe it could be water sitting on the leaf and cooling down. Anyway, always an experiment with these guys. We've got Signochus Fire Embers down here with a new growth pushing. Kind of diagonal out there. I'm going to leave it potted just like it is. Even though it's kind of floating up in the air now, those roots should go down and find that sphagnum. This big labiata is still for sale if anybody wants it. Really nice, big, healthy plant. Bloom size, and I think it's probably pushing new growth soon. This mossy eye is also still for sale. And yeah, well, just an exciting time. So many things growing. I released 2,000 tiny Californicus predatory mites a couple weeks ago, and I've been scouring the place under a microscope to see if I could find any spider mites. I'm particularly concerned about this plant because you can see that there were spider mites here on this stem that you can damaged it. I want that seed pod down there to make it. And I've contacted pretty well-known flasker who's agreed to take that and flask those if it does go all the way to term and produces viable seed. So that's exciting. Hopefully that does happen. This is my Rebecca Northern Aurora by this one, this is the seed parent, which is the Mikabe clone, the awarded one of the most beautiful clones, I think. So the offspring should be pretty, very pretty, and really strong growers and lots of flowers on a spike. So we're looking here. This little growth had some spider mite damage, this little point here. So I'm hoping it'll keep trying to push, but a lot of times if spider mites get hold of a new growth, the plant will just stop. So the good thing is if the spider mites have been eliminated, the good thing is that stopping one growth will often spur multiple growths. So we might get multiple growths. And I've potted it in a big pot. Hopefully it will last a couple years. You know, you have to think, okay, if it does this size bulb again, it's got room to do one here, 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 here. It's just, you never know where they're going to pop out. This is that new hybrid, hasn't been named yet. This is Grace Done by Dodsoniana. Two fat new growths pushing out. And this plant, where's the other growth? There it is, it's kind of hiding. Oh! Sorry. And this plant's been sold. Again, it's waiting to be shipped off, waiting for the weather to warm up. Today's 18 degrees C, but then tonight's going to be 0. So we're edging towards warmer days, but the nights are so cold, I'm afraid to ship them because I don't know. I wish I knew more about the male. Maybe Yoshi Nagamatsu, if you're watching this, you can help me understand if once something's in the male's possession, what are the chances that it will be exposed to, let's say, freezing temperatures? Because that's the whole reason that I'm a little bit I don't want to send anything off. Some water resting in that leaf there. Yeah, right now it's just a sea of potential. We've got a whole sea of blooms cooking for the future. My little Vanda falcata, one of my favorite little plants. I bought it as a seedling from Windy Hill in 2015. When I bought it, it was about as big as this new little growth here. And it's been divided 6 or 7 times. It's awarded, and last year it bloomed in April, so who knows, it might try to bloom early again this year. I think it got more of a winter this year. I did let it get pretty chilly here in the tent, so maybe it'll bloom a little bit later. Yeah, some more new growths on Cattleya rex back here. It's great. Some of these leaves are yellowing. I don't know if it's just, maybe it's not getting enough fertilizer. It's trying to put out 4 new growths or 5 new growths, and I'm not fertilizing it enough, so it's pulling nutrients out of these old leaves, possibly. Maybe I should dump on the ferts. Some other plants. This is my Tillandsia recurvata. This is called ball moss. And I just grew this thing from just a little tiny nothing. And it really is looking nice. I love this thing. It's stuck to an antler. This is a little Cattleya rex that's also stuck on here. And then I also got some Spanish moss. I don't recall right now the Latin name for Spanish moss. And then I've got this little thing. This is a Chironorchis scolopendria. This is for sale. If anyone's interested, let me know. I'd like to sell that little guy. Be nice to see it bloom. It's got hot pink little flowers. This is a Dowiana rosita. The parent plant was from Rogue Orchids, Brent Baker, and such a big, gorgeous plant. So I'm growing this exactly as Brent has the parent plant photographed, just on a raft of cork. See if it likes that. It seems to. Doing pretty well. And then, so looking at my other plants, my Nepenthes, this is Stenophylla. I damaged the leaves by spraying them with 2 tablespoons of Dawn soap in a liter of water. Way too strong, so I think it's going to drop some of these older leaves. But it is growing a new pitcher down here. You can kind of see. That's going to be cool when that gets developed. And it's got a new leaf popping out here. My little Raja by Edward Ziana is putting out a new pitcher. It looks a little bit bigger than the last one. Pervillay is looking nice. Just opened up a new pitcher last week. And it's working on another one here. New one there, and another leaf there. So hopefully as temperatures rise in the tent, this is going to be a happier plant. It likes hot, humid conditions. It is not a cool grower. So I've got some cool growers and warm growers in the same situation. I'm kind of doing with Nepenthes what I did with orchids when I first started out. Just buying a few different plants that I really like the way they look, and then trying to grow them, and the ones that survive, hey, great. If they don't look great, I'll, again, I mentioned Kujawa earlier. He's kind of, he would be my first choice for passing off plants that are cooler growing than I can support, because he's got very cold greenhouses and he can handle them. But anybody else who has cold growing conditions too. I'm so thrilled about my Pinguicula. They're really taking off. This little guy, this Ellersii, look at how many gnats it's caught. Are you kidding me? And this was very sudden. I don't know if it's just because it just took it some time, or if the gnat population just had to get to a certain size, but it had not caught a single thing for like a year and a half. Maybe a year-ish. And now it's doing great and it's gonna bloom. It's got a little flower bud. Lots of Pinguicula victims here on the leaves. And then this is another one that Yoshi sent me last year. And I've already, actually this is a leaf cutting at the original plant I gave to one of my coworkers. I've given like 2 or 3 divisions of it away. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of treating the fungus gnat population as in here, it is increasing because I am starting to use more sphagnum, and I am also keeping it more humid in here. So gnat population is increasing. I think as these guys split off and create little duplicates of themselves, I'm going to just pot them up. And anywhere there's a space in between plants, I'm going to pop a little Pinguicula and see if we can't just eat all the gnats, or as many as we can. These guys were attacked by fungus gnats, or not fungus gnats, what do you call them? Spider mites a few months ago, and they're looking better. Everything's had those predatory mites released on it, so now we're just waiting for them to resume. They were growing so nice and fast, and then I kind of really gave them this treatment, and I think now they're kind of recovering from that. So I'm hoping we're going to see some new pictures forming on these little guys as they get going again. My little very valuable, very rare Velosa by Raja. Actually, no, sorry, it's Raja by Velosa. You can tell there's 7 of them that are forming pictures. This one right here is the biggest one. It's actually pushing out its 3rd one right now. That's super exciting. When I got the seeds, I was hopeful that I would get 1. So I'm, again, really hopeful that we'll get more. All 7 will continue to grow. I am concerned, again, this is a highland hybrid, and it probably does not appreciate very warm temperatures. So got to watch it carefully and try to keep it happy. But the good thing is, if I do need to sell those, I shouldn't have any problem. Everybody would want one of those little guys. My Path Michael Kopowitz, this has been sold as well, and it looks like it's working on a new growth, new leaf pushing out of here. It's got some new roots down here as well. So I'm glad to send that off to a new home. I've had this plant since 2015 as well. And my paths, they just don't like my conditions here. They did great when I lived in Kentucky. They're not doing great here. And since my focus is more on higher level light plants like Cattleya and Cygnothias, I don't really want to focus too much on the paths. So I'm happy that they're finding new homes, and hopefully their new owners will be able to pick up where I left off here with them and get some big beautiful blooms on them. And down here we can just look real quick at my lower light area. This is a couple of phals. My Diania ophrydis, I'm excited that that's also been sold. I'm hoping that I can get that shipped off before the growths get too big, because it is a pretty big plant once it gets going. Bulbophyllum catenulatum is only down here because there's no room for it up top. It would probably appreciate brighter light. And then my little Paphiopedilum callosum, also been sold and just waiting to be shipped off. So yeah, exciting time of year. Lots of potential, lots of new growth. And yeah, very, very, very fun. I guess the eyes are on this. Actually, Hal might be blooming around the same time as this Cattleya rex growth. So it would be fun to have both of those in bloom at the same time. But we're still a couple months away from that. All right, well, I wish you a happy March, and hope your green pets are growing and happy. We'll see you next time right here on My Green Pets. I'm William Green. Take care.